David Addison along with Haley Cox and trackside, looking forward to this fifth round of the championship. It's the usual mouth-watering entry with Audi taking on BMW, taking on McLaren, Mercedes and Porsche and Aston Martin this time within the Pro Cup. We've got a very tight championship battle going on, not just there, but in Pro-Am and also in the Gentleman Trophy. It's been a dry weekend, largely, here at the Nurburgring. It got off to a rather destructive start for one or two teams in the bronze test, when we had one BMW out for the weekend due to the amount of damage. Another one had to be rebuilt overnight. But in the Pro Cup, a BMW team has been dominating this year. Bas Leinders, Maxime Martin, Marcus Pautela head the title race ahead of the Christophers, Hauser and Mies, with Stefan Ortelli as the third driver for Audi. 3 hours of racing in prospect here at the Nürburgring. The cars are about to be released. They will make their way down towards the very tight first hairpin, and then this lap, 5.148 kilometres long, will echo to the sounds of this very full field of GT cars. We've got 46 in total. We lost one, as I say, the race art BMW for the weekend. We're on board in the number 8 Porsche. That's Mike Sturzberg at the wheel of it, as everybody now sets off on this formation lap, looking down onto the grid, nobody with any dramas. A few teams have certainly been in the wars over the course of the weekend thus far, but they're all there now, ready to go. The grid very, very jumbled, a legacy of all of the penalties. It just adds to the drama, doesn't it, for 3 hours of racing. So Bas Leinders will go first. Remember, he's the championship leader, and 15 points ahead. Mark VDS Racing is over the WRT teams Audi of Christopher Mies, Christopher Hauser, Stefan Ortelli. Look at the grid. BMW all front row on this formation lap as the cars work their way through the Mercedes arena. It's Audi and Ferrari on the second row. It's Lamborghini and Audi on row 3. Mercedes have been going, in fact, pretty well around here this weekend, but on the grid, got to go quite a long way back to find them. It's Porsche and Audi on the 4th row. The 5th row is where you do find the first of the Mercedes, Frankie Cheng, Mike Parisi and Jeroen Bleekemolen, the 3 drivers in 18. The sister car, Sean Edwards, is going to be the star driver in number 19, sharing it with Oliver Morley and Steve Jans. Everybody weaving around to try and generate a bit of warmth into the tyres. Steve Jans is the driver that goes first, incidentally, number 19. Sean Edwards, I think, being saved till last to haul that car into contention. If you ignore Spa for a moment, we've done pretty well this year without too many safety cars. We had one at Paul Ricard at the first 2 rounds of the season, even though we had the long safety car period because of bad weather. We never got another one induced by any dramas. Spa, with the weather and the accidents that induced, was always going to be a different story. What did we have? 16 safety car periods at Spa from memory, in a very turbulent race, to say the least, which was won by Audi, of course. Frank Stippler, René Rast and Andrea Piccini, the victors there. And even on the last lap there was drama, because there was that puncture for Frank Kettler on his way to taking 3rd place. So the story just kept on coming at Spa, and now for this penultimate round of the championship, back to the conventional 3-hour format. After the Nürburgring race, there is just one more at Navarra in the second weekend in October, still to come. Championship-wise, you score in your class, not for your overall position. It's 25 for a win, 18 for second. So things finely balanced, and results here can certainly affect the way the championship goes to Navarra very definitely, especially in Pro-Am. If the Nick Thomas and Louis Macchiel's Ferrari, for example, drops down in class relative to the Vita 4-1 Team Italy car, already heard from Eugenio Amos. There is Maxime Martin, very much hot property in GT racing at the moment. He won here last week in a different championship. Can he do it again now in the Blancpain Endurance Series? Because round 5 is about to get underway as the cars turn their way out of the final corner. And as the lights go out, the race gets underway now, and a very good start being made by the number 2 Audi, Marco Bononomi, to dive up the inside. Bas Leinders a bit slow on his toes there. He's going backwards as diving up on the inside as well comes Mark Goossens' Porsche. Davide Rigon is going to lead in the Ferrari, and they're 4 wide into the hairpin. Something's got to give. Surely Luca Ludwig goes wide. Goossens bundles everybody out of his way. He loses the lead, or does he? Because at the Mercedes arena, he's level with a Mercedes. It looks like a very good start then by Frankie Cheng as the cars work their way through turn 2 for the first time. Down to turn 3, flick it back into second gear, and yes, Mark Goossens has managed to wriggle his way through to the head of the pack. And I don't think yet we've had a yellow flag, although it was very, very close as they worked their way through turn 1. Valentino Rossi gets hung out to dry on the outside by the number 36 BMW then. Blasting down now towards turn 5. You can see the very busy field that we have, 1 or 2 up from the back of the grid, headlights on, trying to work their way through traffic. And after he's poor start. Matthias Lauda has gone backwards in a real hurry in the Vita 4-1 BMW. That car's dropped like a stone. So Mark Goossens it is, I think, leading the way. Yes, it is. And then second behind him as they dive down now towards turn 7. You've got Frankie Cheng doing a very good job indeed in the Mercedes. So the car was quick in qualifying, may have suffered on the grid drop, but it's really worked its way into contention at turn 1. He had the right line as everybody else ran wide, left the door wide open for him. Lauda bouncing over the curb, the car getting a bit unsettled by all of that, and so they wriggle their way now for the first time midway around the lap. And how are those penalised drivers getting on from the back of the grid? As you can see, an effort being made on the inside there by the number 9 McLaren. That's in the hands of Mike Wainwright to try to gain ground. In third place is Bas Linders. Perhaps he did the right thing off the line, trying to keep out of trouble, not get caught up in any dramas at the first corner. Lots of flashing of headlights from quick drivers saying, come on, get out of my way, I'm coming through. And another one also looking to gain ground, Jean-Luc Bobelic in the Ferrari number 20 that works his way up alongside the BMW there in the background. Through the chicane for the first time. Very, very tight chicane. You're braking uphill, turn in, run up onto the curb on the outside. Mike Sturzberg here doesn't know which way to go. There's a BMW on the left, a Ferrari on the right. At the end of lap 1, though, Mark Goossens leads. Frankie Cheng is second. In third, coming over the timing line, it is Bas Linders. Luca Ludwig is fourth, and a very good first lap for Santilok has put Jonathan Hershey in fifth place. There's now Mike Sturzberg, tries to make his move. Look, coming over the timing line, he's alongside the BMW. Is he going to be able to go through now? He's got the inside line against Nico Bastian, and they're also number 1, which is Christopher Mies, gets past Jochen Habets in the repaired 37 BMW. That was another of the DB Motorsport cars in the wars earlier on in the weekend. So everybody comes over the timing line. Mark Goossens it is then up front. There is Valentino Rossi, who at the end of lap 1 was in 18th place. Good effort. And now let's see what the doctor can do to try and wriggle his way further up the order, because there's an awful lot of traffic to get past as Mark Goossens then leads the way. And this a replay of turn 1. But one of the good things about the Nürburgring is its width. So what have we got? 4 wide, very nearly 5 down towards the first corner. Davide Rigon led coming in, but look at Mark Goossens on the inside, and Frankie Cheng just positions the Mercedes absolutely perfectly, and as everybody else goes wide, largely forced to do so by Goossens braking so late on the inside, Frankie Cheng gets up level in the Mercedes with the Porsche, but on the outside line at turn 2, second gear corner, nothing he could do about that. And then off the road goes one of the Von Ryan Racing McLarens by the look of it, and that's the Draper car. Julian Draper doing the first stint. Slithers off the road, no damage done, he's back on track, and that's Mike Hesmans getting it all wrong, going through the chicane, and Mike Sturzberg tries to come up alongside him in the Porsche, the Haribo Porsche on the outside line, then going into the last corner, and this all of a sudden becomes the fight now for 14th place, but the Porsche runs wide, still keeps up the momentum then, using all of the curb, over the line, down now towards turn 1. Rob Bell gets himself up to 11th at the expense of Christopher Mies, and Mike Sturzberg has gone past the number 4 BMW. No, yes, he has gone through ahead of Mike Hesmans, and Valentino Rossi wants a piece of that as well. The Ferrari right on the tail. Number 1 Audi, Christopher Mies then, battling with Bell as they work their way down towards turn 3, and the McLaren this time makes it stick. So on the inside line, Rob Bell picks up 11th spot, and there's more to come as well, because Rob, as he gets into his stride, will just get quicker and quicker and quicker. Into the braking zone they come now, and this is for second within the Pro-Am Cup. Hayek versus Bell versus Habets, and number 1 there, which is Christopher Mies, the driver within the Pro Cup. And that car at the moment is a long way down, only 12th overall. He's in this battle, but he's not really working his way through it in the way that Rob Bell has, for example. That puts more pressure on Christopher Haase and then Stefan Ortelli later in the race, because that car, don't forget, number 1, is second in the championship in the Pro Cup behind the number 3 BMW, so it's got to somehow get a better result out of the race than this. Now Luca Ludwig has just done the fastest lap of the race. That is the 4th placed Audi, therefore closing on Bas Linders. Leading quartet still running together with Jonathan Hershey, whose dad's in the race as well. Pierre in the Gentleman Trophy, he is running in 5th, and Marco Bononomi in the better of the 2 Team WRT Audis, currently in 6th spot. Now down towards turn 8 comes Valentino Rossi, 17th he is, looking for a way past Mike Hesmans. And this, looking back from Mike Sturzberg's Porsche at Mike Hesmans, 15th and 16th these cars are, over the timing line now. Pro-Am Porsche versus Pro Cup BMW. Hesmans, Bert Langevin, Henri Moser, the drivers. Through the little kink that brings you into the braking zone for turn 1. Very, very wide indeed goes Nico Bastian, and there's a spin in the background. It's one of the Ferraris, it's 51. Antonio Adania Perez, and there was contact by the look of it, because 57 slides off the road. And that, I'm afraid to say, with frontal damage, is the car in the hands of Giacomo Petrobelli. And that, remember, is second in Pro-Am in the championship. That's a disaster. The damaged Ferrari is going to have to head for the pit lane, surely, assuming it can survive in the race even. The damage may be too great. Big problems then for 57. Giacomo Petrobelli with damage. And also in strife, look, it's 52. It's lost its rear wing. So 52, Nick Homerson has been involved in all of that as well, by the look of it. So the top two in the class in the championship, both have got damage. One has lost its rear wing, one has got bodywork damage as well. And suddenly the Pro-Am situation, not just in the race, but in the championship as a whole, becomes very different indeed. With so many cars, there's always something happening. There's the Curiacos BMW, which is about to try to make a move against the Pro Speed Porsche of Dylan Deerdala by the look of it. No way through, going towards the Warsteiner corner, however. It's Andrew Smith at the wheel of the Curiacos BMW, 23rd and 24th they are. Meantime, this is for 16th. Hezemans ahead of Rossi. They've been together pretty much most of the race. Valentino now getting even more toey to find a way past, but that BMW is just not going to be dislodged. Mike Hezemans wants to be making progress, not having to defend for a place, but it is not easy to do. Over the timing line, big flash of the lights there, look, from Sturzberg. Henry Hassid is ahead of him in the blue and white Porsche. One of the two Pro GT by Almera cars. Down into the braking zone then comes Valentino Rossi. Still he can't find a way past Hezemans, but he's lapping quicker than the Dutchman. Mike, one of the most experienced GT drivers on the grid. And wide goes Mark Hayek, and Nico Bastian tries to come up alongside him. Is he going to make the move? Yes, he is. He's alongside. He's got his nose in front. And coming out of turn 3, Nico Bastian goes through. Great move, that. First time he's raced the car. First time in the Blancpain Endurance Series. And the reigning Dutch Mini Challenge champion. Now in a BMW Z4. Puts one over the Blancpain boss. He picks up a place, and that's Petrobelli into the pit lane. You can see the damage at the front of the car. So the Vita 4-1 Team Italy squad goes to work. But how much time is this going to lose them? Now, how is Nick Homerson getting on in the meantime? He's also in the pit lane. So 52, the championship leading Pro-Am car, currently in the pit road also. Down they come then, plunging downhill. 5th gear, then hard on the brakes, down to 2nd, coming into turn 8. The BMW can't find a way through there, but he can round the corner because Chen goes wide and Bas Leinders goes 2nd. Accelerates uphill out of the hairpin, and Bas Leinders finally has worked his way through to 2nd place. Chen down to 3rd. Luca Ludwig looking for a way past. He's 4th. 5th is Jonathan Hershey. And now that Bas Leinders is finally released from behind the Mercedes, what can he do about the race leader? The leading group over the curb, and Marco Bononomi, who, like just about everybody, last lap through was slower than his earlier best, but still lapping strongly, running in 6th. The next Ferrari in trouble, I'm afraid, is Jack Gerber's car, number 50, the South African driver, who took me to task earlier for saying, you're the bloke that's always saying I've just had a spin. Well, I'm afraid, Jack, you're off the road again, and that, by the look of it, is at turn 1, and was that self-induced or was there contact? Well, either way, the 67-year-old South African, great enthusiast, and a very quick driver under normal circumstances, by the look of it, has had a lose all on his own. The car goes up the escape road. Hopefully he's going to be able to rejoin from there and continue. And we're also getting a report that 57 has stopped out on the circuit, and that, remember, is the Petrobelli car. And that's a Mercedes in the gravel. I've got a horrible feeling that might be the Joneses. It looks like it's the Pressy Spark car. So it crashed in qualifying, and David Jones started it, and he's gone a long way off, hasn't he? Down at the bottom of the hill. So along comes the snatch vehicle. Here's the replay, battling with Eric Clement's Porsche. Into the braking zone comes the Mercedes. Door closes. Ex-rally driver David Jones goes across the grass, and that just pitches him off the road, and off it goes backwards into the gravel. There is the Porsche heading the Gentleman Trophy, 58, starting near the back of the grid, but going strongly here is the Daniel De Brouwer Christian Kelder's Porsche. Christian Kelder's starting in the Hexagon Engineering Royal Écurie Ardennes entered Porsche. And a replay of Mike Sturzberg's dramas this, with Mike Hezemans finally getting up alongside him, and as they get to the corner, kathunk. Round goes the Porsche. Mike Hezemans delayed in all of that as well. He scampers across the grass, and the BMW and rejoins. And Valentino Rossi thinks, thank you very much for that. 2 places gifted to him. There is the race leader outright, Mark Goossens. car that is to be shared by Xavier Martin and Mark Henrici. And you've got at the moment Mark Goossens starting to feel more pressure because Bas Linders is bringing down the gap here. And that, I'm afraid, is Mark Hayek off the road, and that's a very, very big shunt by the look of it. A lot of damage is done to the front of the Blancpain Lamborghini. There's bodywork off, there are bits of debris on the road as well. And that is coming out of turn 8, climbing up the hill. And I'm just looking, there's some tyre marks on the road that would seem to go from the corner over the curb towards the gravel. Looks as though Mark may have been a bit keen on the power, run wide, lost it, spun across the road. And the marshal's quickly on the scene, as over the timing line has just gone the 46 Valentino Rossi Ferrari in 13th place now. 5th in class, looking pretty good this for Valentino, and with Andrea Ceccato still to go, a very quick driver of Ferraris, it's looking even better. And we go safety car because of the Lamborghini being off by the side of the road, as Frankie Chang heads down the pit lane. So the Chinese driver bails out, as does Lauda, and also by the look of it is the second of the DB Motorsport BMWs. So in one or two cases these are early stops, but you might as well do them now because you will lose less time by doing a pit stop than you would under normal live race conditions. As the safety car continues to circulate, let's find out why, because this in replay is what happened to Mark Hayek. Yeah, he just ran wide coming out of the corner, and accelerating out of there means that the speed was full on as he spears over the road, and that's a very heavy hit into the barriers. So Mark Hayek just ran wide on acceleration, and the car speared over the road into the tyres. And I think we're going to get towards the end of this safety car period pretty soon. So when, if at all, during it, does Rossi pit? Now is the answer. So we never quite get him into the lead of the race, but second it was. And he comes, Gregoire de Moustier comes in behind. And the Ecurie Cost BMW is in also by the look of it. Andrew Smith to hand over. Valentino Rossi, meantime, has done a very, very good job. And the second stint is going to be done by Alessio Salucci. And they come over the line, the green flag is waved. We're racing again at the Nurburgring with 2 hours and 5 minutes to go, and Rob Bell lines up on the inside. He leads the way, and what he's got to try and do here is just go as quickly as he can for as long as he can without exceeding the maximum allowance, and then put Mike Wainwright into the car and see how Mike fares in his effectively double stint to bring the car home to the checkered flag. Rob, therefore, just needs to go as fast as he possibly can. That safety car has done them no favours at all because every gap has shrunk behind him. But now, Rob, with his foot nailed to the boards, sets off again like a rabbit out of the traps. See what he can do. As Rob Bell comes into the pit lane, the race leader is in. He's done the fastest lap of the race as well as Rob, a 1:59.7. And now he comes down the pit road. So Mike Sturzberg takes over the lead in the Haribo Porsche. And going past the pit, you can see in the background 2 sets of headlights going side by side down towards turn 1. Mike Parisi owning one of those sets of lights. He tries to gain a place. And he comes up on the inside, and he does wriggle away past the BMWs. Both, in fact, he's got past Knapp and Dembour. So Mike Parisi really gets a good run out of the last corner. Dives up the inside at turn 1, picks off a pair of BMWs. And the next target for him is going to be Greg Franchi ahead. Mike Parisi, a welcome returnee to the Blancpain Endurance Series. Into the pit lane comes the Haribo Racing Porsche. It stops. And at the pit out end of the pit road is Von Ryan Racing. So Rob Bath has this long trudge down the pit lane. Mike Parisi leads. He's got past Greg Franchi. So that puts the Mercedes into the lead of the race. Franchi drops to second. And it's going to be Jeroen Den Boer third, ahead of Simon Knapp. So the DB Motorsport BMW is looking really strong here, ahead of the Mark VDS car in the hands of Marcus Palteler. But worry not, because we need to put Maxime Martin into that car. It'll fly. I'm not saying Marcus Palteler is slow, but Maxime Martin is just so good. And this is how Mike Parisi lined up to get the lead. In the wheel tracks of Franchi, through that little kink as the line changes down towards turn 1. He's got the inside line, and look in the background, the DB Motorsport BMWs almost switched over. Parisi gets the lead, but he goes wide, as is off the case with the late braking, but he has the inside line for turn 2. And appropriately, in the Mercedes arena, and Mercedes takes over the lead of the race. And that is the number 8 Porsche that has only just joined the race in the hands of Hans-Guido Riegel, and on his outlap, I'm afraid, the Haribo Sweets Air has had a spin. He's showering gravel into the face of the 88 McLaren, and this is what happened to Hans-Guido. Misses the line, runs too deep going through turn 5. It's all wrong going into 6. The back pendulum's left and then right, and he goes through the gravel and comes to a halt. Gets it going again. Time and place is lost. Second spin of the race for that car. Sturzberg had one early on, didn't he? So Richard Westbrook looks at this and thinks, oh crikey, it's going to be hard work this in my stint, but another safety car might bring that back into contention, you never know. In traffic, we have then the Mercedes working its way through. More flashing of headlights. Greg Franchi tries to find a way through. Eager to work his way through back markers. Does so. And there, look, is Mike Wainwright getting clipped by 36 BMW, which just darts through on the inside. Jeroen Den Berg gets involved in that, but he's got damage. The car is slow. And number 36 BMW that was third, limping its way out of the last corner. And that, I fear, has done some suspension damage. The car staggers its way up towards the line, and what was suddenly looking really good for DB Motorsport is now looking very, very bad. Let's have a look. To the inside he goes. They're almost level. Over the curb goes the BMW. It looked like they were level. It looked as though at the apex the McLaren was ahead. Maybe Den Berg tried to back out of it, thinking Mike Wainwright was going to come across. Either way, there's contact. McLaren spins, and the BMW is being pushed, there it is, into the pit lane. But it's not been an easy job because of the damaged steering and suspension on that car. There's 46, dropped outside the top 20 now, with Alessio Salucci at the wheel. Well, let's hear from the man himself. Valentino Rossi has done a great first stint. Let's hear from him with Haley.
Valentino, welcome back. Tell us about your time out in the 458.
Yeah, I enjoy a lot, and yeah, I decided to do the first hour, and was okay. I coming back past the other car. I had a quite good rhythm. Unfortunately, at the end arrived the safety car for the crash of the Lamborghini, so I have to slow down, and then I have to stop a bit before for make the change. And it's a pity because I enjoy a lot. I want to do another 20-30 minutes, but I think I will come back next time.
Thank you, Valentino.
Thank you.
Well, let's hope we see a lot more of him. If he continues to enjoy his GT racing, maybe when a two-wheel career comes to an end, we'd see him in GT racing full-time. That is the championship-leading BMW off the road. Marcus Paltela is in the wall, and I reckon he had a bit of help there. He's damaged the front of it, which snow ploughs its way through the gravel. It's now beached itself. Bodywork stuck under the front wheel. Marcus Paltela off the road, and it looked like he got a tap in the tail. The championship-leading car is off the road. It was Dino Lunardi behind him, was it not? They come to the chicane. Paltela moves across for the line. There's contact, and off he goes, bang, into the barrier. And that's pretty much what happened in the bronze test to the two BMWs I was talking about early on. Contact between them, and you can see how much damage it's done to the barrier and to the car. It steams, it smokes. And Mark VDS looks as though it's going to post a retirement for number 3. Look at all the steam gushing out of the front of the car, bodywork damage. The fin is finished by the look of it. Marcus Paltela going no further. So now, in 9th place, the number 1 Audi of Christopher Haase becomes a car to watch in terms of what else it can salvage out of this race for the championship. It's a long way back in terms of the race lead. It's a long way back in terms of class position. But over the remaining, hour and 38 minutes, that car should score better points, and we'll go to Navarra seemingly with a very, very tightly poised championship in the Pro Cup. Maxime Martin walks from the garage to the pit wall. Have a look at the timing screens, have a word with the engineers. But I think in his heart of hearts he knows the score. Paltela in the car, no doubt on the radio to the team back in the pit lane. And they'll have seen the pictures, and they will probably know that the only option now is for him to bail out of the car and trudge away. And the incident involving that car is under investigation. Perhaps not surprisingly, there's the aggressor, the number 40 Audi, and Dino Lunardi's Santilok Audi with a loose bonnet. That's the sort of witness mark, isn't it? The flapping bodywork at the front of the car. Can you see it as he gets to the chicane? Yes, there it is on the front left corner. So you can't really go to the race director and look innocent, can you, when the bodywork's falling off the car like that? So as he turns, Dino Lunardi through turn 17. Let's hear the Mark VDS opinion on all of this. Bas Linders in the pit lane. Hayley, it's all yours.
Bas, a disappointing end to the race for you. What happened?
Well, there was an Audi behind us, and the Audi pushed us in the side. And because the Audi pushed us in the side, we ended up in the guardrail. So we're very unhappy. Of course, we were fighting for the championship with WRT Audi. So, yeah, it's really bad feeling.
There's the replay. Off the road goes the BMW. And now Marston lines up to have a go for third place, heading down towards turn 1. He's done it! The Porsche dives through on the inside to get past Simon Knapp, and as Franchi goes wide, he now is under real pressure. Right with him as they work their way now towards turn 2. Greg Franchi, Xavier Marston on his tail. Marston going really strongly now, and that Porsche that I was saying early on looks a little bit subdued. Far from it now. It's a very competitive proposition. It's getting stronger and stronger within this stint. They are on lap 41. We have got an hour and 32 minutes still to run, and this is the battle for second place, and Xavier Marston's getting a bit fed up of being stuck behind the BMW now. There's a flash of the lights. He tries to find a way through as they work their way now through turns 5 and 6. Again, you look at the different strengths around the lap of the different cars. At certain parts of the circuit, the BMW works better. At other points on the lap, it's the Porsche that works better. Now let's find out a little bit more about the number 40 Santilok Audi's chances and its involvement in the early incident. Greg Gilvert is in the pits with Hayley Coxon.
Greg, what's your view on the shunt?
Yeah, I saw just once on the TV, but I don't know really what's happened. I think Marcus did a mistake one corner before, and Dino was really close and on the right hand side, and I think Marcus didn't see Dino and smash him in the front, but it's really bad for BMW because it's a really good friend of us. I think Dino, and it's a mistake. I think Marcus didn't see Dino.
Thank you.
So a suitably apologetic team. Different stance adopted from the attitude of Bas Linders. But a racing incident, it has been deemed, at least by the Santilok team. The stewards may think differently because they are still investigating the incident. Now, last time through, Edward Sandstrom and Christopher Hauser in the Team WRT Audis lapped quicker than the leading 6 cars. Granted, the leading 6 are either in traffic or battling amongst themselves, whereas the Team WRT cars have had a bit of a clear road, and there is the charging Edward Sandstrom. Well, that charge might come to an end in a moment because he's about to get stuck behind Olivier Pla. Look who sits absolutely dead set in the middle of the road. Sandstrom round the outside. Is he going to do it? He runs wide, he's over the curb, he stands his ground on the inside, and he goes through. Great move. Straight away, Edward Sandstrom catches up onto the Porsche, and despite Olivier Pla's attempt to defend, no can do. Edward Sandstrom absolutely flies past him. Pla maybe was caught napping a bit there because straight away he tries to come back at the Audi, look, heading up towards the chicane, but Edward Sandstrom, take no prisoners, catch the Porsche, get past. Even though he got a bit of a squeeze, kept his foot in, Edward Sandstrom is absolutely flying. He is becoming the man to watch in this stint now. Over the line goes Parisi. He leads the way. Xavier Marston has now got past Greg Franchi. We've had that change for second place. In the background, Lunardi is 4th, despite the bodywork damage. There he is, ahead of the sister car that runs in the Gentleman Trophy. Then 5th is the BMW, the white car in the hands of Simon Knapp riding the curbs. 6th is Maxime Soulet. That means the battle is developing for Pro-Am Cup honours. There's only one back marker between them. And 7th is Sandstrom. That is the Ferrari that leads the class in the championship. Louis Machiels having taken over from Nick Homerson into the garage. Its second trip in there. It was damaged early on, remember. We saw the rear wing missing off the car, and now it's in the garage. Mike Parisi has just gone over the timing line, continuing to have this big advantage over Xavier Marston, who has yet to go by. Does now, 12 seconds. It has come down a little bit that time through. Xavier Marston has got the Joe Twyman and Kyrgios BMW ahead of him. This, side by side, is the Pro-Am Cup class lead. Knapp on the inside, Soulet on the outside, who goes through. The Porsche takes over the lead, but he goes deep into turn 1, leaves the door wide open. And Simon Knapp comes back at him and retakes the class lead. Fantastic stuff. Porsche leads, Porsche drops back. BMW loses the lead and fights back. Simon Knapp then goes back through. dare one say Maxime Soulet was caught knapping there. Simon Knapp has gone back through. The door was left open as the Porsche ran deep into the corner. There's Joe Twyman in the white and blue BMW, having the lights flashed at him by Greg Franchi. And Mark Lemmer, the team boss, is no doubt going to be on the radio in a minute, saying to Joe, let them pass, they're not battling with you, you can afford to let them go. And that's what happens coming up now towards the S's, heading towards the Warsteiner corner. Goes Franchi, goes Gattuso, and now Lunardi will go through. Joe Twyman slots back in behind them. Done exactly the right thing, let the quicker cars go. Doesn't affect his race one bit, doesn't affect their race either. They all carry on in their fight now for what is third and fourth places, really. Franchi versus Lunardi, with Gattuso stuck in the middle of them. And he's had one go early on to get past Franchi, and this time at the chicane he makes it stick. He goes through. 39th is Stefano Gattuso, and he is 6 laps down, and Lunardi capitalises on that on the inside, coming up towards turn 17. He's alongside, and the Audi goes through. Dino Lunardi up into third place. This is the best we've seen out of Santalot Racing all season within the Blancpain Endurance Series. He goes storming on through, and that car with Greg Gilbert to do the last stint, another one that's looking on for a good result here. Behind Franchi now, look, is the Pro-Am Cup lead battle. It is still Simon Knapp ahead of Maxime Soulet. Soulet, a class winner at the start of the year in the ELMS at Paul Ricard. We've seen him in the past in the FIA GT Championship. He's a former Belcar champion, and now he is right on the tail of the BMW. Mike Parisi, meantime, has just done a really good job in this middle stint. Not done anything silly, nothing wrong, and he now pits at the end of lap 52. Leader is in. Jeroen Blickermolen will take over the car. Jeroen on his first lap in a Lamborghini in the GT1 race yesterday, binned it, similarly to where Mark Hayek went off earlier on today. But now let us see what he can do in a Mercedes. Jeroen Blickermolen to take over. There is Dino Lunardi coming in. And is it going to be new bodywork or just some sticky tape onto the front of the car? Let's see, as ahead of the Hans-Guido Riegel Porsche swings the Mercedes. Jeroen Blickermolen, whose dad Michael was a Formula 1 driver briefly in the 1970s. Hops on board, good racing family. Michael himself still races. Jeroen's brother Sebastian still races as well. Caption says Frankie Cheng, he did the first stint in that car. Jeroen Blickermolen in now with the Dutch orange on his crash helmet. Frenchman Mike Parisi gets out. So Xavier Marson takes over the lead of the race as he's yet to stop. Door down. Greg Gilbert takes over number 40. And a fire up the pit lane. That's the Jones Mercedes. It's having the day from hell, isn't it, that car? It's had an accident, it's been in the gravel, and now there's extinguisher needed. I think all is well. No, still it needs to be extinguished. Brakes on fire, I suspect, is the drama. That possibly is the end of the day for that car. There's the Mercedes. Jeroen Blickermolen now tries to get the car back into the lead. And the Porsche made its pit stop out of sight, and the transponder again is in the wrong place. It's now being shown as Mark Kennericci behind the wheel. It's really Mark Goossens. And the Porsche on the pit stops has taken over the lead, as there you can see Laurence Vanthoor sorting out 37 Andrew Danilou. So on pit stops, although we didn't see 75 come in, it was a good stop, and the Porsche leads the way. There is number 1, Christopher Hauser, in to give way to Stefano Ortelli. This car is going to be one to watch in the last hour, just to see what progress it can make in class up the order. Came in second place overall, but it's a phony second because of the pit stops ahead of it. So the Audi blasts out of the pit lane and gets ahead also, look, of 74. They came in, Porsche ahead of Audi, so on the pit stops, even though they're in different classes, it's another place gain for the number 1 Team WRT Audi, which hopefully will get stronger and stronger into this last hour. So there's 66, which is now Frank Kettler at the wheel, and he's the quickest of the 3 drivers. So there's a lot yet to shake out of this, with 62 minutes of the race still to go. Kettler, look, is closing on Ortelli. Now, Mark Goossens has just lapped 2 minutes 1.2. He is being caught by Jeroen Blickermolen. It's game on for the race lead. It's game on here for third place. Ortelli versus Kettler. Things stay as they are. The championship would go equal on points to Navarra, but it's not going to stay that way if Kettler has anything to say about it. He looks on the outside line of Ortelli, heading up towards the chicane. Duncan Cameron pits to give way to Matt Griffin. And so Mark Goossens goes over the timing line now to pick up the race lead. 25.7 seconds is the margin over Jeroen Blickermolen. This is for third. And it's Ortelli just ahead of Kekkola. Kekkola looks to the inside line as they go down towards turn one. The gap is there, the BMW goes through. So although the Audi gained on pit stops, it's losing out now because the BMW motors back through. Now, is Ortelli going to lose any more ground? Let's see. Has the Audi got the pace to stay in this leading group, or is it going to fall away? Pietro Donne looks on. Frustrated faces all round as the number one car loses one spot and therefore loses points in the championship. This means they would go to Navarra 3 points behind Marc VDS Racing. Mark Goossens leads the race, and René Rast in the number 13 Audi has just done the best lap of the race as he tries to find a way back into contention. And having led the Gentleman Trophy, there in the pit lane in its garage in trouble is the 41 Philippe Marie driven Santalok Audi. Pierre Hershey and Robert Hissam had done their stints, and now the car is in its garage, and that therefore means the class lead goes back to 58 Christian Kelder's Porsche, which was the Porsche that won at Paul Ricard. There's going to be a second victory of the season, seemingly, for the Porsche. So 56 minutes to go. What else have we got happening here? We've got cars in the pits, we've got cars battling for position, and we've got news from the pit lane from Hayley.
Hey Adders, yeah, an update on that number 41 Audi who are leading the Gentleman's Trophy. They could have walked away with the trophy this weekend if they would have had a good result, but there's gearbox issues, so they are out, as you can see from the pictures.
Hayley, thanks for that. Bearer of bad news again. In the background of that shot is the 98 JB Motorsport Audi that's had a long time in the pit lane but has rejoined to salvage points out of the race. So one of Santalok's cars in trouble. As I say, René Rast, having now done the fastest lap of the race, showing what he can do, even though the car, badly delayed, is a long way adrift. But René Rast now pressing on in number 13. So Goossens leading the way with, in second spot, Jeroen Bleekemolen. And let's see what the gap was last time through. 7.8 seconds. That's the genuine gap now after pit stops have unwound. But Goossens is still lapping quicker. There is the leading Porsche. Frank Kekkola running in third place. Now, what about Stefan Ortelli being caught? Possibly. He is being caught by Paul van Splunderen. Even though they're in different classes, the quick Pro-Am Porsche is starting to make ground up against the number one Audi. There's Goossens. René Rast, you can see also in the background, flashing his lights to warn the traffic of his progress. The number 13 Phoenix Audi outside the top 20. So through comes Ortelli, through comes van Splunderen. It is behind. But the lead gap overall is creeping up. Even though Jeroen Bleekemolen is a very quick driver, he is not yet, can he at all, match the pace of Mark Goossens. This is the second place car in Pro-Am, third place car in Pro-Am, I should say. The Sean Edwards Mercedes comes up towards the line, and he now inherits second in class, because what was second, the number 17 Ferrari, has just pitted. So up to second in class now goes Sean Edwards. What can he do about Paul van Splunderen? It's a pretty big gap between them, it's got to be said. But Sean Edwards pushing on. And again, you see, you've got a Black Falcon Mercedes looking very strong around here. Martin Jensen giving way to Dennis Anderson in the number 17 Ferrari that's had another good run. It's a bit anonymous, the white Ferrari, but it just goes very strongly in that class. Keeps out of trouble largely. 51 minutes are on the clock. And there, lights flashing, is 88 that was dug out of the gravel after Leon Price put it off the road. And ahead there is the leading Gentleman Trophy Porsche, which has gone back to Christian Kelder's. Survival of the fittest in the Gentleman Trophy. Kelder's ahead of 31, which should go for the last stint to Fabien Tournay, I would propose. Georges Cabin started. Fabien Michel did the second stint. Fabien Tournay does the last stint, and the quick Swiss single-seater racer should bring down the gap to the Porsche. Over the line comes the Mercedes. Bleekemolen then, having taken over from Mike Parisi. Let's hear now from the Frenchman.
Mike, that was certainly an impressive stint she did in the Mercedes.
Yeah, I have a very good feeling with the Mercedes, so it was an amazing stint for me. Frankie did the first stint absolutely extraordinary, and me, I tried to keep a very good run, very stable, and to have 11 seconds, I think, on the second. So we did a very good job. The team did a very good job too, and we have that Bleekemolen now is going to finish our job.
Thank you.
So the top three concertinaing up in real terms, as over the line comes the leading Porsche, and the gap going onto this lap was 4.1. It was down to, what, 3.6 in the sectors, and it's down to 2.8 by the end of the lap. Jeroen Bleekemolen absolutely flying now. 39 minutes to go. That Porsche looking as though it's on borrowed time as Jeroen Bleekemolen has got into this stint, so he has got faster and faster. They are absolutely nose to tail. Look at this. Mercedes to the inside. Sean Edwards goes for the class lead. Is he going to do it? Yes, he is. Really good move by Sean Edwards. Late on the brakes. Gets the power down well. The back tries to snake out on line, but Sean Edwards goes through, powers his way uphill, and the Mercedes, look at that, straight away starts to pull away from the Porsche. Black Falcon Mercedes passes Pro Speed Porsche for the lead, but it's only for the class. It's the Pro-Am class lead that has changed. If the same can happen at the head of the field in the Pro Cup, that will be a new race leader outright. Bleekemolen, there he is still hunting down Mark Goossens. Well, Xavier Marson did a good middle stint for Pro Speed. His car leads. Can it win the race? Let's find out. Hayley.
Xavier, is Mark going to be able to hold off that Mercedes?
Well, it's going to be a quick fight. The Mercedes is quicker, but he still has to pass him, so we'll see. We're keeping our fingers crossed for the end of the race. It's going to be a tough battle, but we'll see where it ends up.
Thank you.
Jeroen Bleekemolen staring at the back of the Pro Speed car, and no doubt working out where the Mercedes is the stronger, is the quicker. See how much curb they use. They're almost up to the edge of the gravel bed. Coming out of the corner now towards the advance curve. Absolutely flat. Speed building all the time on this part of the circuit. There's a grandstand overlooking this chicane as well. Good place to watch from at the back of the paddock, and now the cars brake and go left and then right. Bleekemolen up towards the end of the lap. He's almost now within range, isn't he, of the leading Porsche. They turn their way into 17. 25 minutes of the race remain. We're going to get, what, round about 13, maybe 14 laps more out of this. Over the timing line they come, down towards turn one. It's one of the best overtaking opportunities. Wide part of the circuit, then it narrows or it tapers a little bit as you go through that kink into the braking zone. And look at this, it's less than a length as they turn into turn one. Mark Goossens just ahead of Jeroen Bleekemolen. Porsche versus Mercedes for the race lead. The first time we've had it in the Blancpain Endurance Series, and what a way to finish the 5th round of the championship. So close, so evenly matched, both cars and drivers here. Bleekemolen has done a storming job of getting that car back onto the tail of the leading Porsche. Goossens has done an absolutely ripper job of hanging onto the race lead, and he's not done yet. He brakes for the chicane, under braking the Mercedes closes, but still Goossens hangs on in there. A short sprint, second, third, fourth, up towards turn 17, drop it back down towards second, turn right, and look at this, they're going to encounter all of this traffic pretty soon. Goossens hits the pit straight, sees it, his heart must sink as he comes across all of this back marker train ahead of him now, because he knows that that's another drama he could well do without. He's got to pick a way through it and defend his lead. Bleekemolen again thinks about challenging through the Mercedes arena. And off the road has gone Nicola Armindo, number 83. Dropped him to 8th place, and that's at turn 8 by the look of it. He's been off the road, he's back on again, so he survives. What about the leading Porsche? Unaffected. Mark Goossens continues up front, and he's almost up with the back markers. 98 Audi is going to be the first car he's got to find a way past. The Jan Brunstedt, Michael Bender, Daniel Roos Audi that runs in the Gentleman Trophy. And now Bleekemolen starting to look as though he's even closer and staying even closer. He was pretty close to begin with, wasn't he? A few laps back. And now he's managed to get himself even nearer. Pro Speed with half a lap to go. There's Xavier Marson urging on Mark Goossens. Come on, come on, come on, they're saying. And the Porsche is still ahead. Back marker ahead. Real threat in Jeroen Bleekemolen behind. And Bleekemolen doesn't even challenge this time at turn 11. Now, has he, because he's already made a look there in the past, decided that Goossens is going to be wise if he challenges there, and therefore he will try a different part of the circuit? We'll find out. He's running out of corners. I don't think he's going to be able to do this. He's just a little bit too far back on the last lap, but what a race this has been. Up to the chicane, they've still got the Ferrari ahead of them. They are nose to tail under braking. Through the chicane, one corner to go. Mark Goossens looks like he's going to be able to hang on in there. He comes up towards turn 17. Bleekemolen closing up under braking. but he's not been able to do anything about him hitherto, and I don't think he's going to do now as they come out of the last corner. Mark Goossens for Pro Speed, he's going to win. He takes the checkered flag. What a race! Mark Goossens, Xavier Marson, Marc Henrici win a tremendous round of the Blancpain Endurance Series. A delighted Marc Henrici there, celebrates victory, rushes across to the pit wall to celebrate with the engineers. Jeroen Blikkenmolen takes second, Frank Kekler here comes home third. And 0.521 of a second was the gap at the end of 3 hours of racing. 18 seconds back was Frank Kekler, and Stefan Ortelli here is about to come through for 4th place, and therefore to go to Navarra 3 points adrift in the championship. He was 15 points back at the start of the day, takes 12 points out of the non-finishing BMW, and this is the consolation prize for Black Falcon. Second in Pro Cup, but a win in Pro-Am. Sean Edwards, another of his excellent drives, comes across the line now to score victory with co-drivers Steve Jans and Oliver Morley. Great success for Oliver as well, the Mancunian. Well, a great drive by Jeroen. He may not have been able to take the race win, but boy, he threw everything at it. Let's hope that the team keeps that combination of Jeroen, Mike, Parisi and Frankie Cheng, who's all smiles for Navarra for the last round of the championship. Mark Goossens taking his time about his end lap, isn't he? There's Frank Kekler. Brings the Vita 4-1 BMW to 3rd place. Looks a bit frustrated that it was only a 3rd place, but the podium result is good. It's not been a great season for that team. Only the 2nd podium of the year, the first one being at Spa. And Matthias Lauda and Greg Franchi there with him. And I think there's only one more car to get in the pit lane, and it's the winning car, Mark Goossens. And there, the Gentleman Trophy class winners. Christian Kelders, Daniel De Breuer taking a 2nd victory of the season. In the background, look, there is the winning Porsche. Mark Goossens brings it home. Xavier Marson is the man indicating where to park. Big round of applause for the Pro Speed guys. And Mark Goossens richly deserves that win. He did an absolutely tremendous job under huge pressure in what you heard from Xavier was perhaps not as quick as the Mercedes, the Porsche, but how to do a great job, how to defend so well. Celebrates with Xavier Marson. Delighted race winner. Go on, Hayley, have a word with a delighted Mark.
Congratulations, Mark. It's a great day for the team, a great result, great way to finish the season.
Yeah, I just had to finish off the great work of these guys here. What a day. Porsche, unbelievable, but you know, it's so emotional.
Congratulations to the Goose.
So nice. So nice.
These are the results. Pro Speed Porsche, the winning car. Mark Goossens, Marc Henrici and Xavier Marson. From the Black Falcon Mercedes of Mike Parisi, Frankie Cheng and Sean Edwards. And the Vita 4-1 BMW, Greg Franchi, Matthias Lauda and Frank Kekler. Stefan Ortelli keeps his championship hopes and those of the Christophers, Hauser and Meest alive by 4th ahead of a really good effort from Santilot Racing. The Audi of Jonathan Hershey, Greg Gilbert and Dino Lenardi 5th. Oliver Morley, Steve Jans and Sean Edwards take 6th overall, but the Pro-Am Cup victory goes their way. At the top step of the podium, there's Mark Goossens on the left. Xavier Marson in the middle. Marc Henrici, who cannot hide his delight, can he? Is there on the right-hand side of the top step, celebrating his maiden Blancpain Endurance Series win. Porsche flag in his face. That's all fair. And the Pro Speed team gets its trophy too. They know exactly what to do as well. Soak one another, soak their rivals, and Marc Henrici is delighted enough to soak himself. In the championship, this is how we now look. Just 3 points between Leinders, Martin and Paltela from Hauser, Meest and Ortelli going to Navarra. Andrea Piccini now equal on points with Mark Goossens, Marc Henrici and Xavier Marson. Whether we see Piccini at Navarra is a big question mark. Of course, he's not doing a full season. The very patriotic Oliver Morley watches Steve Jans get his trophy. Oliver Morley now, and Sean Edwards, who's done quite a lot of winning on German soil in the last year or two in the Carrera Cup Deutschland. And Black Falcon Racing celebrates 2nd in Pro Cup and a win in Pro-Am, as now the champagne is sprayed. Well, in the championship, this is how we now look. It is still Thomason and Machiels ahead. It's still Bertolini a point behind. And 2 points back still, the non-scoring Amos Bonacini and Petrobelli. But now, up the order has come Ludovic Padet, Jean-Luc Bobalik and Patrice Goela after their efforts here, ahead of Hans-Guido Riegel, Mike Sturzberg. And that win for Anthony Beltoise brings him and Henry Hassid up the order as well. And there, Daniel De Breuer and Christian Kelders receive their winner's trophy, along with the Hexagon Engineering Royal Écurie Ardennes squad. Now it's time for the champagne, and like proper gentlemen, they spray willy-nilly at anything and anybody. I think Georges Caban is the one that loses out here because he's not had time to reach down and get the bottle yet. Busy shielding himself for every spray going. He's not even got the bottle of champagne in his hand. He's just made a run for it. This is how the Gentleman Trophy Championship now looks. They didn't score, but Pierre Hershey and Robert Hissam still lead. They didn't score well. Michael Bender, Jan Brunstedt, and they are second. Jocke Mangs joining them in that team, still equal on points. Daniel De Breuer and Christian Kelders almost in contention now with another class win. And then it is Gaël de Soulier, Gilles Vannelet, absent this weekend in fourth. Well, it's been another all-action round of the Blancpain Endurance Series. There's only one downside, and that is there's only one round left. It's at Navarra on the 14th of October. Join us there. From Haley Coxon, from David Addison, from the team here in Germany, goodbye.